Cruise ships can be a great place for consistent, high-paid, and fun work for theatrical professionals of any discipline. But are they right for you? My name is Kent, and this is your half-hour call.
Attention cast and crew, this is your half-hour call. Half hour to the top of the show. Half hour.
What is up, friends, and welcome back to Half Hour Call. Let's say you've just been given an offer of employment aboard a cruise ship and you're trying to figure out whether or not you should accept the job. Hopefully you type something into a search bar about if cruise ships are right for you, and this video came up. I have been working with cruise lines since before the pandemic and recently spent 6 months sailing Europe aboard the Norwegian Getaway. Let's talk about 5 green flags and 5 red flags that can help you decide if ship life is your cup of tea. One key to success on a cruise ship is that you are very self-motivated. Whether you're a performer, technician, or stage manager, this is equally important, but for very different reasons. For entertainment managers, there's a lot of autonomy and not a ton of oversight from the shoreside entertainment departments. Ships run largely on their own, and you'll often be required to make decisions without the ability to consult with the people who hired you. So, being able to take that initiative and move swiftly is very important. For performers, depending on your contract, there might be a lot of downtime, so you'll need to be able to take it upon yourself to keep your skills sharp, brush up on any material you need to review, or maybe even create your own guest entertainer solo show that you can perform on the ship, and then send videos out to agents to try and book guest entertainer contracts. Another sign you might succeed at sea is if you are reasonably sociable and make friends easily. You're going to be with the same people for several months to a year at a time, depending on your contract length. So, A, it is very important that you are able to get along with them, and B, it is equally important that you are able to make friends outside of your specific show or department. Otherwise, it might be a very long and lonely contract. The third, and arguably most important key to success on a cruise ship is hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I know it doesn't seem like it would make that big of a difference, but it will, trust me. Just hit all the buttons. You know what to do. Hit the buttons. But in all seriousness, in terms of your fellow crew members, outside the cast members of the show, you will almost exclusively be communicating with people for whom English is not their first language. On my ship, there were only 22 Americans, and 21 of them were in the entertainment department. Sometimes this can create momentary challenges, but genuinely everyone I worked closely with spoke really great English, despite many of them not being as confident in their English as they deserved to be. Another quality that is helpful on ships is the ability to keep control over your finances. You're paid on a monthly basis, and when you purchase things on the ship, you just swipe your employee ID card and it's deducted from that month's pay. You can check your month's balance and expenditures, but it's really easy to lose track and just swipe or tap for that extra hour of internet access or that extra drink in crew bar. And particularly for ships that have really cool itineraries, it's also really easy to get stuck in that vacation mentality when it comes to spending money. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy the ports that you're in, because that is one of the main perks of the job, but doing so intentionally rather than mindlessly is crucial. This is true for all jobs in entertainment, but particularly on ships, you are very isolated from resources. The performers on your boat, the technicians on your boat, and the props, costume pieces, scenery, lighting fixtures, whatever on your boat are all that you have access to without pulling some major strings and cutting through some serious corporate red tape. So when things go wrong, you need to be able to adapt quickly and make things move as smooth as possible with whatever you've got on hand. Likewise, things can change on a dime that are entirely out of your control. Ports can get canceled due to weather, and suddenly you're throwing up a matinee performance with only a few hours notice. Or maybe, and this is a true story, your new guest entertainer almost misses the ship entirely, so their night 1 performance in the main stage has to be swapped with an hour's prep time with that of another entertainer on the ship. Things come up all the time, and the ability to sidestep problems and keep your eye on the bigger picture really sets you up for success. Okay, but what are some signs you might want to reconsider working on a ship? To be blunt, if you are in the early stages of a committed romantic relationship and your partner is not with you on the ship, it will most likely end before your contract does. Every single friend and coworker I knew that was in a relationship went through some serious rough patches, and most of them that weren't already engaged or married ended up single before the end of their contract. Communication on land is very challenging on a ship, so if a budding relationship is important to you, it might be worth consideration if this is the right time to become a crew member. Almost everything seems really high stakes on a ship. If the 2 p.m. bingo game doesn't happen, the guests are going to revolt. If you say the wrong thing to a high-ranking officer, you could get fired on the spot. If you're the kind of person who easily gets spun up and stresses out, maybe reevaluate whether this is the right avenue of entertainment for you. A lot of different cultures are at work on a ship, and some of them come across as much more cold or hostile than traditional American workplaces. As I mentioned earlier, communication with land is often a challenge during a cruise contract. If you are heavily reliant on your friends or family members at home as a support system, you may struggle on ships. You might be in a wildly different time zone every night and not have reliable internet access and be busy when they're able to take a call. Knowing yourself and your ability to function independently or with your found family who is on the ship with you is very important. Similarly, on ships, you aren't working from home, you're homing from work. There is work happening on ships 24/7 around the clock, and it's really easy to get stuck in that wheel of constant grinding when you never really get to physically separate from the job. Finding routines and rituals to tap out or check out at the end of the day is really important. And if you're not someone who can separate their work life from their personal life, you're going to run into a lot of problems. Finally, and arguably most importantly, if you are heavily reliant on medication or self-medication, this is probably not the job for you. Getting prescription medication on a ship can be very difficult, and you're required to have an entire contract's worth of medicine when you board, so anything that needs refills is probably a no-go. Additionally, drug and alcohol policies are very strict and instantly fireable offenses. Marijuana and other drugs are strictly prohibited, and there are specific blood alcohol limits for on-duty and off-duty. That said, alcohol is everywhere and it's really cheap in crew bar. If you're a person who has difficulty saying no to a drink or not knowing when you've had enough, it can be a really challenging environment that I've seen many people struggle with. Better to know yourself in advance and not put yourself or your job at risk. If you're considering a career on cruise ships, especially as a stage manager, I hope you will take these tips to heart and take the time to really consider whether this job is right for you. I like to say it's the hardest easy job I've ever had, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life so far. If you're a good fit for ships, go for it. Have an amazing time and send me pictures of all the cool places you wind up. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. My name is Kent, and this has been your half-hour call.
Find the perfect gift for the stage manager in your life at the Half Hour Call store. Now with free shipping on all domestic orders. New products added frequently. Visit KentJamesCollins.com/store to shop now.